purpose of this activity, A Question of Trust, is to let students simulate the origins of the era of trusts in American economic history. Acting as captains of industry, they too will try to create monopoly power within their classroom oil industry. Their experience will challenge the common belief that the era of trust formation was evidence that Adam Smith's analysis of capitalism was flawed. Students will discover for themselves that trusts were actually an affirmation of Smith's theory that in the absence of coercion, an invisible hand regulates the market in the interests of the consumer. The incentive of profit was in fact so strong that efforts to create voluntary collusion inevitably failed in the post-Civil War America. Businessmen turned to the trust as a way to escape competition and enforce the collusive activities that quest for profit had consistently undermined. The two parts of A Question of Trust simulate two stages in 19th century United States economic history and two different efforts by businesses to escape the constraints of competition. The first stage was characterized by direct attempts to avoid the effects of competition by collusion through pooling and so-called gentlemen's agreements. As students will discover, and as history confirms, such efforts were doomed to failure because the lure of profit created overwhelming incentives to cheat on the agreements. Popular perception of the history of railroads is rife with examples of robber barons in smoke-filled rooms scheming to victimize the consumer through pooling and rate setting. Less well understood, however, is the reality that such agreements were invariably undermined by the lure of profit. A careful examination of the era of trusts reveals that the battle for profits was not between rapacious producers and helpless consumers, but among producers themselves. Okay, we're going to start with an activity today that we call A Question of Trust. And in this activity, you're going to be participating in 6 different companies. And these companies make up most of the economic activity in the industry. Your oil company executives, you're going to be making production decisions for your company. And your goal, of course, is to maximize profits. Okay, the year is 1875. 6 groups, 6 teams. This activity must be played with 6 companies. Make companies larger or smaller based on your class size, but keep 6 companies. Before you begin, walk students through the practice problems so they understand how to use the demand forecast to determine the price and calculate their balance in each round. So every group is an oil company. You need to come up with a company name and decide who's going to be your company treasurer. We're going to do some practice math together on this practice sheet, and so make sure that your company treasurer is comfortable with the math on this sheet. If they've got it and it's clicking for them, then they would be a good one to appoint as your treasurer. So you're going to be making decisions about how much oil you produce in each round of the game. So let's take this practice sheet you have in front of you. Number 2 says, I will provide you with a forecast of demand. And that forecast, you've hired some economists who have kind of done some market testing and give you an idea of how much buyers will buy at different prices. So that's the information I will provide you in between each round. The supply is the total amount produced by all of you. And so keep in mind that you're not the only one producing oil. There's 5 other companies in here that are producing oil as well. So let's take under the bullet points under number 3. For example, suppose you decide to produce 1 unit. Is that the total supply? No, it's 1 plus what everybody else produces in here. So suppose 5 companies produce 1 unit and 1 company produces 2 units. What would be the total market supply? 7, good. And according to the demand forecast, if 7 were produced, what price would emerge in the market if 7 were produced? At a price of $100 right here. Your production costs, if your production costs are $30 per unit and you had sold 1, you had produced and sold 1 of those for $100 minus your cost of 30, what would your profit be? $70. Okay, so let's try the following problem. Number 4, you produce 3 units and the total market supply is 19. Your cost of production, I'll put this up here, cost of production through the whole game is going to be $30 per unit. Okay, so keep that in mind. So you produce 1 unit, and the total market supply is 19. Supply was 19, and we want to take that 19, and that would intersect our demand forecast here at a price of $75. In the classroom, teams are not allowed to talk to one another. Give them a few minutes to discuss and make their first production decision. Now, another way to think about it would be, that's coming up with our total profit. What if we just figured out our profit?
We only sell one, then
that
allows
works.
the other team to make a
This is
profit.
when you want to sell everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No risks.
You guys have your decision?
Yep.
Okay. That's you guys. And oils are us. Okay? And pretty good oil. Who's pretty good oil? Okay. All right. Now you know the players. I'm shuffling up and let you know who produced and how much they produced. We have 3 plus 2. That's 5, right? Plus 4, 9. Plus 4, 13. Plus 4, 17. Plus 4, 21. So at 21, that puts you in the range of $50, okay? $50. That means you're going to sell all that you produced for $50 each. All right. Everybody knows how this works now? Okay, now we're going into round 2. Go ahead and make your production decision for round... Oh, they're already done. All right. When you're done, just let me know. I'll come over and pick it up.
Maybe we should get 5.
You guys have your decision?
Yeah, one more barrel.
Okay, most we get burned.
4. So what are we at? 11 plus 4. 15 plus 5. 20 plus 5. 25. Ooh, that was close. That puts you guys into the $50 price range. After a couple rounds, introduce the idea of a convention or dinner wherein industry leaders meet. Allow one person from each group to attend the dinner and let them know that teams won't have to make decisions until they return from the dinner. So you can send one person to the convention. They're going to be leaving through that door right there, gate 23. It's going to be held in Puerto Rico this year, the convention. So decide who you want to send to represent your company, and you guys have a great time, okay? You have 15 seconds before the flight departs. So who's going to go for your company? Send them back here. Your companies will not make their production decisions until you guys return, okay?
Okay, so the best option for all of us is to lower production to raise the cost, wouldn't it be? Can we trust each other to do that?
If we all make 2, we'll all get the most revenue.
If we all make 2.
$200, because then it'll be a $100 demand.
Does that sound good?
It's the deal we're not going to go back on. You shake and you do not go in there and produce 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All be screwed.
Yeah, then we'll all be screwed.
Okay. Is that it?
Shake.
Circle shape.
Circle shake.
Reasonable rhyme.
It's too reasonable. Nobody's going to follow what they say. Play 5. Okay.
They're also making shady deals over there. They're breaking it right now. I can feel it. I feel it in my blood.
Okay, I have our production decisions for that last round, for round 3. And here they are in no particular order. We have 2 plus 3. That's 5. Plus 4. That's 9. Plus 5. What are we at? 14. Plus 5. 19. Plus 5. 24. 24. We're at $50 again. $50. All right, we're going to let you guys have another try. But this time, there's going to be an industry discussion. So one of the leaders is hosting a dinner at their home. And they're inviting, a leader. It can be the same person that attended the convention last time, but everybody's invited to send one person to this dinner.
Not everybody has to send somebody.
What happened, guys?
Do you want to actually make the deal this time where we all don't screw each other? Because if we do 3, if we all produce 3, that's 18 barrels. That's under 20. We all make $100 a barrel. There's 30 to produce. That means we make $210, and that's better than what we made last round when we all tried to screw.
Excuse me, telegram here. this is a telegram from, you know, one of the leading producers in your industry. Will you go ahead and read that for your group?
We are asking that you give your production decision cards to us in exchange for a certificate of trust. Allow us to make all decisions regarding the production and sale of the output of all firms. Stop.
If you guys have questions about the telegram, I can answer those questions for you. But basically what it's saying is, if like what you're all trying to do right now and agree to produce 3 units, what you would do with this is you would turn over your production decision card in exchange for this trust certificate, and then that decision would be made as a group, all of you would produce at a level that would be profitable for everybody. So if you're all saying 3, basically, instead of you guys going back there and individually writing 3 on your cards, that makes it possible for you to take this, exchange it for your production decision, and then every card would say 3. Are we in? To join? You? All right.
Shoot. Okay.
So what was the decision? You're in? Okay, they're in. They're in. All right. We have 6 companies, each one producing 3, which gives us a total of now 18, and you can figure out your profits for this last round. Once they experience the difficulties of collusion in a competitive environment, students are better able to appreciate the lure of the trust organization for businessmen. The trust provided the mechanism by which colluders could be prevented from cheating on the cartel. History leaves us no doubt as to the success of the trust in centralizing business and securing monopolistic profit levels. By the 1880s, trusts had been formed in many of the major industries in the United States. However, as public knowledge and understanding of the purpose and effect of trusts grew, the demand for reform gathered steam. The 1890 Sherman Antitrust Act was only the first in a series of laws designed to prevent trust-type agreements and reestablish a more competitive market environment.